The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
We were talking about anti-Semitism earlier and the explosion in anti-Semitism. ADL did a new report that documented it, but you read it in the paper, you feel it on the streets. The anti-Semitism and the acting out is out of control. This was a big issue in the mayoral campaign. I know, because I was in the mayoral campaign. I was not successful, which you could probably figure out. It is one thing to disagree with Israel's position vis-a-vis Palestine. It is one thing to be pro-Palestinian. It's one thing to say you think Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has gone too far. It is another thing to be anti-Semitic. It's another thing to act in a hostile, discriminatory way against American Jews. Against American Jews. And it has been increasing rapidly. This mayor has made it clear he is pro-Palestinian. He is a critic of Israel. He has made that clear. He has made it clear that he is associated with pro-Hamas people. He has made it clear. But then you come to an interesting point. What happens when a mayor's political position spills over or steps over the line to where it becomes a government policy? In other words, you have a mayor who is anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. There's a demonstration going on at the Park East Synagogue, which was a very violent, vulgar protest. And the mayor in the middle of the protest says, I agree with the protesters and I oppose what they're doing in the synagogue. Okay, that's your opinion. But if government now acts on your political opinion, are you discriminating against the Jewish population? Are you supporting protesters who may be violating the law? That becomes a very interesting legal question. And it is a topic that Rabbi Mark Goldfeder, who is the director of Anti-Semitism Law Clinic at Touro Law School. He's also CEO and director of the National Jewish Advocacy Center, and he served as the founding editor of the Cambridge University Press series on the law and Judaism. He joins us now, and the rabbi's point is there is a legal consequence. There is a point at which an elected official, a CEO, the mayor, cannot impose his or her political opinion in a discriminatory fashion. Rabbi Goldfeder, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Rabbi, why don't you speak to the point, you wrote a great piece in the National Review, but on this topic of the legality, and where is the line between a mayor having a First Amendment right to express his or her opinion, and discriminatory government policy?
Sure. Government officials are not just private citizens, right? They speak with public authority, and their words can signal enforcement priorities, they can invite public pressure, and they can chill protected activity, which is why the First Amendment treats them differently. It treats official hostility differently from private opinion. So a mayor can criticize Israeli policy, they can condemn settlements, they can do whatever they want privately, but what they can't do is use the authority of their office to declare that a lawful event taking place at a synagogue is morally suspect, that the people there deserve to have a mob coming and shutting down their synagogue. And by the way, the preschool next door had to close early as well, just because of the viewpoint or the identity commitments of the people inside. And I just want to add one thing to what you said, which was correct. It really becomes a problem when the mayor acts, but it's also a problem, and this is very important, when the mayor doesn't act because of his or her political beliefs. And what that looks like here is this. Mamdani has staked his entire public safety reputation on what he calls precision policing, which is it makes sense on paper. It's a data-driven strategy that you put your resources where the numbers point, right? But the problem is this. If the data shows that one community is absorbing 55% of hate crimes, you can no longer have a generic response. You have to send more resources that way. And that's not what he's doing. He stood at one police plaza and he admitted that the vast majority of hate crimes in the city are targeting Jews. And then he did nothing. The lack of action is also a problem.
Well, 100%. 100%. But, in some ways he is, and Governor Patterson made this point, he is transparent about it. He's anti-Israel. He himself brings the anti-Israel philosophy to New York City. And he did side with the protesters, if you will, at the Park East Synagogue. And your point about not taking action, that protest was a very violent protest. There are video clips. People watched it on the news. They were pushing the barricade into the police. A police officer was injured. Egress was at least diminished. Not a single arrest. Not a single arrest. How does that happen, and what does that signal?
It's funny. You're right. A better politician than Mamdani would spend at least their first term moderating themselves and try and make us believe, but he can't help himself. There's a type of a case under a case called Monell versus Department of Social Services. A city can actually be sued directly when a constitutional violation flows from an official policy or custom. And it happens when you can show that a policymaker, like a mayor, right, with final authority, has a practice of deliberate indifference to constitutional rights. Now, these kind of cases, they're usually slow to build because you have to prove deliberate indifference. It requires a pattern and a lot of evidence, but Mamdani is really the exception. He is constructing that record himself in public in real time, right? Every statement that he makes minimizing anti-Semitism, every decision to dilute targeted protections, every press conference where he recites the numbers and changes the subject, each one of those is another sort of tile in the Monell mosaic. And we're preserving all of this evidence for when the time comes.
And again, he's been open about it. He was against he wanted to eliminate the SOG in the NYPD, the Strategic Response Group, which is the group that responds to protests and handles protests. And there's always a tension where the protesters say the police are interfering and they're not letting us fully use our First Amendment rights. And the police are saying we have public safety and we have to have certain borders. That group he wanted to dismantle. And he has been very vocal about the rights of the protesters, particularly on this issue. He vetoed the buffer zone bill that the city council passed, which was a minimal effort to address this issue. The city council had a buffer zone that allowed the police to set up a buffer area around educational institutions to make sure people could come and go to these educational institutions without being disrupted. He vetoed that bill, Rabbi.
He did, and later that week.
Yeah.
Again, the Park East Synagogue, it's important to raise. There was actually a preschool attached to Park East Synagogue that literally had to close early because there were people coming, chanting anti-Semitic slogans, carrying Hezbollah flags, and the mayor of New York had just issued an official statement explaining why they were right and not the poor children inside. It's cartoonishly wrong.
Well, I don't think he is going to change. There are two positions he has taken, and he has been consistent. He is a socialist/communist, redistribute income, tax the rich with a hostility. And number two, there has been an anti-Israel position that is aggressive and blatant. And I think you're going to see the pattern with this mayor continue. It's sad to say, because he is dividing the city when he's supposed to be healing the city. But you may wind up having a court case when this is done, Rabbi.
Unfortunately, it looks like where we might be headed.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks for having me.
We'll take a break. Don't go away. We have to talk about Iran.
77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.